There's lots of things about which Sam and I agree, but the devil's in the details, of course. I'm very sympathetic to his claim that we need to ground our ethical systems in something solid and demonstrable. My problem is I'm not sure how to do that. I don't believe that you can derive a value structure from your experience of the observable facts. There's too many facts. You need a structure to interpret them, and there isn't very much of you. And so part of the way that that's addressed neurologically is that you have an inbuilt structure. It's deep, it's partly biological, it's partly an emergent consequence of your socialization. And you view the world of facts through that structure, and it's a structure of value. Now, that structure of value may be derived from the world of facts over the evolutionary time frame, but it's not derived from the world of facts over the time frame that you inhabit, and it can't be. So the problem I have with our discussion so far isn't really any of Sam's fundamental ethical claims, because I do believe there's a distinction between the hellish life and the heavenly life, say, the life that everyone would agree was absolutely not worth living, and the life we could imagine as good. And I do believe that we should be moving from one to the other. The question is exactly how is it that we make the decisions that will guide us along that way? And I don't believe we can make them without that a priori structure. In fact, I think the evidence is absolutely overwhelming that we can't, and I mean also the scientific evidence. And I would like to go further into the devil that's in those details. And so that's my situation at the moment.
Part of these conversations, and now you and I have had, I think, 4 conversations. We've done 2 podcasts, and this is our second live event. And thank you for doing this, by the way. It's
my pleasure, man.
It's an honor to do this. It's an honor to do this, and it comes with risks for both of us to do this. I mean, as I think you can sense, we don't have precisely the same audiences. All of you are sort of rooting for one or the other of us to some degree.
Or for the spirit of truth.
And yes. But clearly the conversation is the point, right? This is not, though this conversation had the character at many moments of a debate, I don't think either of us view it as a debate in the trivial sense. It's not about point scoring. It's about making sense in a way that's consequential, because we're talking about issues of great consequence. And you obviously care about these things, and it matters whether we converge on the most important questions in human life. And as you know, I'm worried that religion doesn't give us the tools we need to converge. What does give us the tools is a truly open-ended conversation, and then you simply have to look honestly at the obstacles toward any conversation being open-ended. And religion presents those first and most readily. It is the idea that certain things have been decided for all time, and there's no future evidence or argument that is admissible on those points. Now, that is clearly bad everywhere in science. It's bad everywhere in how we renegotiate our proximity to one another in society. New laws and new ideas are born all the time about how to structure institutions and social relationships, because new things happen. I mean, we didn't have an internet, and then we did. So our old laws and our old expectations of human communication simply don't work in the presence of this new thing, right? So we have to figure out, again, it's a navigation problem. And what I'm perpetually in contest with, even in conversations like this, is the sense that the rules need to change just a little bit for this class of books. I mean, literally, this side of the bookstore, right? There's like any other part of the bookstore, well then there's no barrier to honest conversation. But you move over here, you got this shelf of books, there you have to hold your tongue, right? There we can't pick and choose. We can't say that, while we can say that Shakespeare wrote some fantastic plays, the best plays ever written, and some are actually not that good, right? We can't say that about God, right? We have to find some tortured way to make the most of his diabolical utterances, right? That's the thing we have to outgrow. And so what I'm continually in tension with you is the degree to which your style of talking about religion and the power of narrative and the meaning derived from it elides that point and seems to let people off the hook on that very point. And that's where we need to hold the line, in my view. We need to sure. That it has to be clear to us at this moment in history that no one has the right to their religious sectarianism, really. I mean, up to the point, clearly, that there's a World Cup version of it that is benign. But once it gets taken past that point, we have to figure out how to pull the brakes, and that becomes a real problem if you are going to dignify the foundational claims of these faiths, claims like revelation and paradise and blasphemy and apostasy. I mean, these are the things that you come up against, and I think conversations like this are incredibly important because we need to convince the better part of humanity that it's possible to live the best life possible without recourse to divisive nonsense. And where we draw the line between divisive nonsense and reasoned and necessary discourse is what we're dickering over, and I think it's important that we continue.